The Box Hill Chess Club recently hosted the 2014 Australasian Masters GM and IM Norm tournaments organised by international master Leonard Sandler. The top seeds in the GM tournament were Grandmaster Murtas Kazhgaleyev from Kazakhstan, Grandmaster Vasily Papin from Russia, International Master Max Illingworth from Australia, and Grandmaster Rustam Khusnutdinov from Kazakhstan. The top seeds in the IM tournament were International Master Kanan Izzat from Azerbaijan, current Oceania champion International Master Igor Bieloborg, and FIDE Master Greg Canfell. During the tournament, I spoke with young International Master Anton Smirnov, who took the early lead in the Grand Master event and looked to be on target for his first GM Norm. I'm here with Anton Smirnov, who's currently leading the Australasian Masters Grand Master tournament. Congratulations on leading the tournament. You need another, is it 1.5 points from the final 2 games, is that correct, to get the GM Norm?
Yep.
So how do you feel the tournament's going, and do you think there's still a chance you will make the GM Norm?
I think I'm doing quite well because I beat some reasonable players.
Yes.
But I'm not sure. Last 2 games may be a bit tough.
Yeah, of course. Now, I understand you're just under 14 years old, and with your rating of around 24-20, that would make you one of the top rated players under 14 in the world, is that correct?
For the 2001 year category,
Yep.
I'm number 1 in the world.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, wow. Fantastic. What are your goals for the future? Because, I mean, you must be torn now between the idea of whether you would go on to university and just go for a normal career, or whether you will become a professional chess player later in life. Have you thought about that a lot?
Probably my first goal just to get to GM.
Sure.
Just see how everything will go.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that your primary goal, your first goal is to get the GM title. I think in the world there's less than 30 people who've become a GM under the age of 15. Do you think that's something that you can achieve?
Maybe, but I have to be in a way lucky to get all the
GM norms?
GM norms and get to 2500 rating.
Sure. Okay, well, I hope that pans out. My final question, what has been your favourite game from this tournament so far? I saw your game against Milton Lai. I liked that one very much, but perhaps there was another that you thought was your best game so far.
Probably one of my wins, maybe like Bobby Chen.
Oh, the win against Bobby Cheng? Okay, so that was also one of your favourite games from this tournament?
I don't really have a favourite, but it's kind of, if you ever win, it's going to be more favourable.
Of course.
Yeah.
We all like our wins, right? Thank you very much for your time. Good luck for the final 2 games. I know there's a lot of pressure on you. I hope it goes really well, and good luck for getting the Grand Master title as soon as possible. Yeah. Anton Smirnov. The first game mentioned in that interview was the game Anton Smirnov as White versus Milton Lai, where White has opened the G file in a typical Sicilian position. Black has just played B5, and Anton Smirnov with the white pieces continued Rook HG1, King H8, a seemingly logical move to get out of the pin along the G file, Rook G6, attacking the Queen, Queen E7, Knight E5, and now White is threatening Rook takes H6, G takes H6, and Knight G6, forking the King and Queen. So after Knight E5, Black continued Rook F6 to defend against that threat. Rook DG1, Bishop D6, aiming to exchange attacking pieces. Queen H5, piling on the pressure. Bishop takes E5, and now the beautiful Queen takes H6, and Milton Lai with the black pieces resigned on account of the continuation G takes H6, Rook G8 checkmate, or alternatively King G8, Rook takes G7, King F8, Queen H8 mate.
I was able to speak with top seed and eventual joint winner of the Australasian Masters, Grandmaster Murtas Kazhgaleyev, straight after he finished his final round game.
I'm here with Murtas Kazhgaleyev, the Grandmaster from Kazakhstan, who has just played in the Australasian Masters GM tournament. Hi, welcome to Australia. How did you feel you went with the tournament?
Oh, I think it was a very nice tournament. I was happy to play some interesting games because my opponents were very young players from Australia.
Yes, Anton Smirnov, for example.
Anton Smirnov
and others.
Yeah, I lost one game against also local player, and okay, it's very tough games. And what is interesting that Australian players play for a win. They don't try to make a draw, and they try to win. It's,
so fighting chess.
Fighting chess, yeah.
Yes.
You always put some pressure, yeah. Any color or opponent, yeah. But I like.
So good, interesting games.
Yeah, yeah.
Which perhaps was your favourite game from this tournament?
Okay, I guess that I played some interesting games. Maybe in the first round, I had a bad position, but finally I won. But okay, it was quite interesting, and maybe against Bobby Chen it was the most exciting game because
Bobby played some very interesting games in this tournament. Actually,
Bobby played very good tournament. He beat some strong guys. He lost only in very long and sharp games, and it was exciting.
He's a very talented player, and of course the other person who has attracted a lot of interest is Anton Smirnov. Your result of 6 out of 9, it's depending on the result that Anton makes to see whether it's enough to come equal first, or...
Yeah.
Did you look at Anton's...
okay, it's still very sharp position, and
we'll see
it will be decided, but Anton showed a lot of tactical skills and good preparation and also very fighting spirit, and I played white with him, but I suffered in some moments, and I was happy to make a draw finally. And it was not an easy game.
He's a tough opponent. Now, you've come to Australia for this tournament. This is your first time in Australia.
Yeah, it's my first time in Australia.
And will you stay in Australia for the Australian Open and some other summer circuit tournaments?
Yeah, I will play some tournaments in Melbourne, Adelaide, and then I go to Sydney for Australian Open.
Okay, so you'll be in Australia for nearly a month.
Yeah, for a month. Yeah. Fantastic trip. Yeah, for the first time. Yeah,
Are you enjoying the warm weather? It's good?
Yeah, because in my country now it's minus 20, 30, and very nice weather and nice city. Yeah, I really enjoy Melbourne.
Oh, good.
I traveled around the world, but I'm first time here, and I see that Australia, Melbourne.
Very nice for you. Yeah,
very nice. Yeah, it takes the best from Europe, United States, and
good. It's very nice of you to say.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
I hope we'll see you in Australia more in the future. Maybe next year's summer circuit?
Yeah, maybe, why not? Yeah, because it looks very interesting. Yeah,
well,
the trip is long, but it's great. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I hope your result is enough to secure a good prize for you here. And
I hope so.
I should also ask, you're from Kazakhstan?
Yeah.
From the capital city or from...
No, I am from west of Kazakhstan, from Uralsk, and Uralsk is situated in European part of Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kazakhstan is not as big as Australia, but also
it's very big
country. Yeah. And
you're involved in coaching the juniors in Kazakhstan?
Yeah, I work with youth team Kazakhstan. I also work with women team from last Olympiad.
How do you find that difficulty of balancing being a coach and captain and playing? It's tough to try and do both.
Yeah, but I think that coaching is easier anyway than playing, but playing is more exciting because you go for some fights and you have to find some moves, ideas, and your opponent
Yeah.
the same. Yeah,
Of course,
and,
it's tough business.
yeah.
Well, congratulations on your result, and thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for the interview.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks.
In his round one encounter with Max Illingworth, Murtas Kazhgaleyev played the Bogo Indian to reach this position and continued queen to b6, threatening the b3 pawn and creating threats along the diagonal towards White's king. White continued bishop f1 to defend against the immediate threat of c4. Black continued with c4 regardless, and after bishop takes c4, d3 check, queen f2, bishop c5, bishop e3, and now after bishop takes e3, perhaps Max Illingworth missed the fact that after queen takes e3, Black has the deadly reply d2, forking the two rooks, and the queen is powerless to take the d2 pawn because it's currently pinned. So after bishop takes e3, White was forced to reply rook takes e3. Then after rook takes b3, taking advantage of the fact that White's bishop on c4 is pinned, play continued queen d2, now rook b1, threatening rook takes c1, queen takes c1, and rook takes c4 is curtains for White. So after rook b1, White tried to force the matters with bishop takes e6, and after king takes e6, queen a2 check. Black blocks the check with rook b3, and now White can't defend against the threats of both rook takes c1 check and queen takes e3. For example, if he continues rook c1, then rook c2, attacking the queen, queen a1, d2, and it's game over for White. So after rook b3, White continued king g2, and rook takes c1, and after rook takes d3, queen g1, king h3, queen f1 check, White resigned. Things didn't go well for the tournament's third seed, Australian IM Max Illingworth. In this position, playing White against Luke Lee, instead of continuing with castles, he continued with the move h3. Luke Lee sacrificed his knight with knight takes e5, and after knight takes e5, the black rook on f8 prevents White from castling. Luke Lee continued knight to b3 with the discovered attack, and after queen takes b3, queen takes e5, Black attacks the bishop g5 and pins the bishop on e2. Play continued bishop e7, bishop a6, threatening queen takes e2 mate, and now Max Illingworth made an error with rook to a2. If instead he tries queen to c2, then bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, queen takes c3 check simply wins. Instead, he should probably castle queenside and return material. After rook a2, however, Black continued rook a b8, and White is forced to go into the self-pin bishop to b4. If he tries queen c2, then after bishop takes e2, White has an unpleasant choice. Bishop takes f8 allows bishop d3 check, winning the queen, and queen takes e2 allows queen takes c3 check, queen d2, rook b1 check, king e2, queen c4 check, king e3, and then rook b3 check, leading to mate. So back after bishop b4, Black continues c5, c4, c takes b4, a takes b4, bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, rook b c8, and now if white sidesteps with queen d3, then rook c1 check wins the rook on h1. So white tried rook a5, but after queen g3 check, white resigned in light of king d1, rook fd8, king c2, and rook takes c4, winning the queen. So a beautiful win by Luke Lee against Max Illingworth. I'm with Grandmaster Rustam Khusnutdinov. I mispronounced your name. Please tell me, how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Khusnutdinov.
Aha, I see. And you've come from Kazakhstan.
Yes.
You've had a very good result. You've come equal first in this tournament. How do you feel that you went with the tournament? And tell me about your trip to Australia.
Of course, I'm very happy to finish tournament with shared first place because all tournament I was not in the first position. It was other players who was leading all the tournament, and of course the last round was very important.
Yes.
I managed to win today because this was the only chance for me to take the first place.
Yes.
I was it was a very interesting game against Luke Lee. The player from New Zealand. It was my first time playing player from New Zealand.
Good.
That's why I choose very solid opening, and time when he got in time trouble position, he blundered my seat.
So he made some mistakes, but he had some interesting games in this tournament.
Yes, of course, he played very well, I thought. For his elo rating, he played very well. So
You had one or two other interesting games. Perhaps what was your favourite game from this tournament?
of course, today's game is very important because if you win the last game, it's very hard because if you know the chess rule, that the last game is like a special tournament.
Yes.
Including only one game. It's very hard to win.
There's a lot of psychology, psychology involved in this.
Yeah, because you have no time to make a mistake.
Yes,
because
true.
if you will not win this game, it will be no chance for you.
True.
That's why I was.
You felt this pressure in this game?
Yes, of course. But I tried to play very solid game, drinking some tea and.
Not some vodka?
No, not during the game.
I'm joking.
Yeah, it's okay.
How are you coping with the hot weather here in Australia? And tell me, did you do some travelling or looking around Australia?
I think it's not so hot.
Okay.
It's,
only 30, 31 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, but
it's okay?
Dry climate.
Yes, it is a dry heat in Melbourne.
Because last year I was living in Indonesia.
Oh wow, okay. So very humid.
I was coaching their national team, and the climate here is quite different.
Okay.
It was also 35 degrees.
But
it was impossible for me to be fresh air because it's very hot.
Okay.
And here I'm okay here.
So you enjoyed the weather here?
Yes.
And you will stay in Australia for about a month or so, playing in some other summer circuit tournaments?
Yes. Now we are staying in the on the Leiden Street.
In Melbourne City, yes?
Yes. It's center of the city, and we was traveling around this area.
It's very famous for the Italian cafes and lovely restaurants.
Yeah, of course.
We're lucky in Melbourne with these
I'm
things.
enjoying Melbourne.
Good.
It's a very good city.
So your next tournaments, you go to Adelaide perhaps, and then to the Australian Open in
then
Sydney?
I'm back to Melbourne.
Oh, great.
I'll play one more tournament here.
The Summer Swiss tournament at this club?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think so. I don't remember.
Yes, it's here at the Vauxhall Club, the Summer Swiss.
And after this, I'll go to play Australian Open in Sydney. it will be my last tournament in Australia for this trip. Then I'm back to Melbourne, and then I'm return to my home.
So you're using Melbourne as a base. We'll see you
Yes,
maybe a
yes,
few
yes,
times
yes,
in Melbourne.
Yes, my basic city for this trip.
Okay, if you come back to Melbourne after the Australian Open in Sydney, we'll be running the Australian Women's Masters tournament, and we would like you to come and visit. Maybe as a guest analyst or
Because
commentator.
I cannot play.
No, but you can be our guest commentator.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I will have some time,
Yeah.
I will,
Great.
of course, I'll visit you.
And do you think there's a chance that next year you would be interested to come next summer back to Australia?
I think so. If
be
the
great.
organizers, if Leonid Sander will invite me, and
I'm
also,
sure he will.
Yes, and I also want to tell some warm words to Leonid because he's a very good organizer, and he's making big work for Australian chess, for Melbourne chess,
True.
and will be happy to visit Australia again.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations on the equal first result. Well done, and we hope to see you in Australia again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Playing with the white pieces, Grandmaster Khusnutdinov launched a strong queenside attack against Luke Lee with c5, d takes c5, b5, and now in time trouble Luke Lee made an error with queen d6, although a takes b5, queen takes b5 is still quite unpleasant for him. After queen d6, white wins a pawn with b takes a6, then play continued rook c7, a takes b7, rook takes b7, a6, rook takes b1, rook takes b1 check, king a8, rook b7, rook b8, hoping to swap off those attacking white pieces, but queen b5, knight b6, queen c6, threatening rook takes b8, king takes b8, and queen b7 mate. So black continued queen takes c6, but after d takes c6, rook takes b7, a takes b7 check, king b8. Black is in a terrible bind. After bishop a5, black cannot move his knight because of c7 check winning. So c4 to defend the knight, bishop b4 threatening bishop d6 check, knight c8 the only way to prevent that, allowing b takes c8 promoting to a queen, king takes c8, bishop d5, c3, bishop a5, and black resigns. In the final round, Russian GM Vasily Papin dashed the hopes of Anton Smirnov to win the tournament or gain his GM norm by defeating him to finish equal first with GMs Kazhgaleyev and Khusnutdinov on 6 out of 9. Anton Smirnov finished fourth on 5.5 points. In the IM tournament, International Master Kanan Izzat won the event with 7.5 points ahead of Igor Byeloborg and Yi Liu, who finished equal second with 6.5. I look forward to presenting further highlights from the Australian summer circuit and hope you can join me then. Thanks for watching.